Here we go. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the CX Meetup Europe hosted by Pisano Academy. Today, we will be discussing the future of customer service and building trustworthy relationships. We do have three fantastic panelists that will enlighten us with their experiences and know-how. It's my absolute pleasure and honor to be on the same panel with them today. We do have Marius Ghios at CCXP, a customer experience manager at Philip Morris International, Kamil, project manager at PKO Bank Polski, and Gregorio Uglioni, CCXP, ACXSPlus, business transformation, innovation, and customer experience expert. Gregorio, I don't know how much more certificates you could get. That's always a bit challenging when you're mentioning yourself. I'd be happy to jump right into the panel and kindly ask our panelists to introduce themselves. Marius, can we start with yourself?
Yeah, definitely.
Sure, thank you.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, Marius.
So hi, everyone. Firstly, thanks for the invitation and the opportunity to be part of this amazing series you are organizing. Just to say a few words about me, I think I will start with something personal. This is that I love traveling, and I've been so far to 100 countries. And this not only that enriched my personal experience, but helped me to realize how important for a global customer experience professional is to travel and to have contact with different cultures in their environments and to deal with the same pain points from different perspective with themselves being the consumer. From a professional perspective, I have my master's degrees in international business, and my expertise is in helping companies to grow, innovate, build capabilities, and reduce costs through customer experience transformation. I have helped organizations in telco, financial services, and consumer goods to switch from a product-led to a consumer-led environment while supporting the development of the necessary capabilities to drive success through innovation. As you mentioned, I am now the customer experience manager at Philip Morris International for the UK market. And prior to this, I have designed and built customer experience strategies for well-known brands such as Vodafone, Liberty Global, RSA, and KPMG.
Fantastic, Marius. That's good to hear. We have never talked about that. I believe I'm at 55 or 56. Due to pandemic, the countries that I visited stopped for a while. It's very sad.
I can suggest a few great destinations, and indeed the pandemic stops us from traveling, but I'm sure things will get back to normal soon.
Hopefully very soon, because every Sunday you get that digest from Google Maps. Where did you visit this week, and where did you visit that month, and how many countries and cities. It's very sad. You have one location, which is your home.
Sometimes it's good to revisit memories. Important is to have the time to make new ones, but I'm sure it will happen soon.
Yeah, that's a good suggestion. And thank you very much again, Marius. Kamil, would you kindly take a moment to introduce yourself too?
Sure. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for having me. I'm not so well prepared to present any personal experience. However, my current role is project manager at PKO Bank Polski, and I work in innovation department. And my current role is to connect outside world, startups and innovative companies with our big bank. And to connect them with the right business owners. And mainly my role is to onboard this innovative company, start working with them, usually go through the POC phase. And whenever the POC phase will be successful, I also help them to start commercial cooperation. So this is my current role. And the main area of focus of our department is, of course, how to increase overall customer experience in different areas of the bank. And also there are two other interesting streams, so develop or onboard new technologies like AI or blockchain, as well as to find new revenue stream or value-added services for our client. And I also today will compare maybe two different points of view, because now I work for a big organization, big bank, but previously I built my experience at KPMG in management consulting, and I was part of Customer Experience Center of Excellence, where I have a pleasure to be involved in a few customer transformation projects. So I will hopefully will be sharing experience from this 2 points of view. So thank you for having me today.
Thank you very much, Kamil. That's fantastic. I would call yourself the man inside, if that wouldn't be wrong. So in a big organization, you're the man driving the customer experience through transformation and all the digital capabilities. So that's good to have you today on the panel too. And Gregorio, we would be also, of course, the last but not the least, we would be happy to meet yourself too today.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for inviting me. It's great to be here with you, and thank you, Özkan, for the invitation. As you already said, I am an expert in business and digital transformation. I am passionate about customer experience, and I am always looking for innovations, new ideas. I am keen to learn new stuff, new things. Therefore, all the certifications, not to show them everywhere, but I really like to enjoy and deep dive in several topics like customer experience or artificial intelligence. From my business background, I am a former Accenture consultant. I worked there several years, and now I moved to Swisscard. Since 10 years, I am at Swisscard. It's one of the leading credit card company in Switzerland, and I am responsible for the business excellence and customer experience at Swisscard. In this webinar, I am sharing my personal view. This is for disclosure purposes, and it's really great to be here. I think what Marius said, I didn't travel so much, but in the last few days, I had quite a lot of calls and digital coffees with people. I think I touched several continents, speaking with Canada, US, and Europe, and it's really great to have such exchanges during COVID-19 times. Therefore, more than happy to be here and to support the discussion.
Thank you very much, Gregorio. Maybe this is kind of an interactive panel where all of our audience, and I kindly ask them to drop their questions to the link that they see at the bottom of the screen, so that we may have some time at the Q&A session for discussing those personal engagements too. And thank you very much again for introducing yourself. Kamil, I would like to start with you. First, we said that you're the man inside, and when we talk about trust, because that is the main topic of today, banking should be one of the industries that come to mind, since people entrust their money and investments. However, in recent researches, customers still trust in personal services and local SMEs the most. So how banks are planning, or the businesses are planning their new channels to serve their customers in the future, where trust is the core of their relationship with their customers?
Yeah, it's a very complicated and challenging time for us, because, as you may know, digital transformation is on C-level agenda for a long time. And for sure, for banks, the main a fundament is integrity of the brand. So first of all, customer must trust financial institution, banks particular, to be and have this knowledge that their money are safe. So the value, this integrity is the key. And in our changing digital world, when the customers are switching to digital channels, and we also help them to onboard them and to do as many self-service processes as possible, and to help them, during the lockdown or any limitations, when they are not able to go to our branches, to have this possibility. to go all necessary processes via digital channels. And it is quite easy to do it when you want to check your balance account or change the credit card limits. However, for more complicated services like maybe credit loan or the mortgage, the personal advice is really necessary. So this personal connection is important for clients, and they just want this personal guidance to walk them through the complicated, to answer all their question. So this is the big challenge, switching all the customers and processes to digital. That is why it is really important for such a big organization to not only deliver a digital touch point, but to create the whole connected the whole connected experience, no matter what channel client use. The challenge is how to deliver omni-channel experience when clients want to switch between physical and the digital. What we are doing best is to, of course, allow clients to have all these digital accessible possibilities, and maybe two areas that we recently launched. So first is digital advisors. So our advisors are not only now available in branches, but from some time there is also possibility to have meetings like online meetings with video chat. We are considering also to co-browsing to help navigate some clients through some digital processes. As well as recently we launched intelligent like an AI assistant, our mobile application, to start the whole new digital experience and allow customer to have this possibility to use voice interface in their digital banking. As you probably know, the adoption of this channel is growing, and the sales of Alexa shows that. But beyond that, it is also important to deliver customer this personal touch.
That's fantastic, Kamil. So I believe if we were doing an interview, you would have already put the subject, integrity of the brand. So I'll take it from there. So Gregorio, when talking about this integrity of the brand, I know that you've done implementations of a lot of projects that does the organizational change. And then when talking about the integrity of the brand and customer experience around it, what would you recommend organizations to implement customer trust in their main metrics and measurements? What do you see the main drivers for trust for the relationship between business and their customers?
I think this is really a great question. And if we start about the speaking and thinking about the word trust, for me, it's all about creating a relationship between two parties. And at the end, if the two parties are B2B or B2C, it's not really relevant, because at the end, it's always human to human. Therefore, when we are speaking about business, it's not about B2B or B2C, but it's about having a relationship between one human to another human. And therefore, to build the trust, it takes also time. We are discussing like friends, but we had also several discussions earlier in order to build trust, to learn each other, and to get an understanding of what are the expectations and so on. Therefore, if we are speaking about measurement, because that's one of the words that you mentioned, I think measurement, we can start discussing about NPS is the good KPI, or customer effort score, or agent satisfaction, or all the possible measurement tool that we have. But the measurement itself is a medium the way how I measure, for example, my transformation, the KPIs that I use to say, okay, I am making progress and I am getting good feedbacks. What it's really important is what is our target? What do we want really to achieve? And there it's really the key to understand what we want to achieve, and then we start measuring something. The measurement is not our goal or it's our target. If you're speaking about customer experience, perhaps it's about improving customer experience. And if I'm saying improving customer experience, it's not the fluffy stuff that you can read somewhere or in some blogs. I'm speaking about customer experience as a growth strategy in order to increase acquisition, improve retention, improve share of wallet, and reducing cost. And there again, it's not relevant if it's a financial services, if we are speaking about other industry, but these are key topics that we can and we should look at when we are discussing about customer experience and what we measure. Therefore, take the measurement as the way to measuring the progress, to get feedback from the customer and start from there. If you give me 1 or 2 additional minutes, and also when we are asking our customer for feedback, to measure the relationship. For example, quite a lot of companies are measuring the NPS. It's extremely important. It's key not only to ask these questions, do you recommend us from 1 to 10, but also offering the opportunity to give feedback. And the customer, if you read what customers are writing in there, it's really great insights. I learned from one colleague that it's not only about what they are writing, but at the end you have free of charge consultants giving you feedback, because these are the customers telling you what they think about your product, your services, and what you are doing. And therefore it's key to have also this interaction with the customer and to close the loop. If the customer tell me that the process XY or the product YZ is not working properly, then I should act and do something. And then it's extremely interesting to see I can fix the experience because something is not working, and then I fix that also for the future customer. Or I can tell to the customer, yes, I understand that you had an issue. At this in this point in time, I cannot fix this experience, but we take care of your feedback. It's in our pipeline to fix it. And there it's really super interesting to see how customers are reacting if you close the feedback loop and you have this interaction with your customer. For me, it's again measurement. There are different type of measurement, and also in the different phases. And I think we should start from there. The measurement is not the target, but it's something that help you understand if you are progressing, what you are doing, and what you could do with all these free text feedbacks that you can get.
That's fantastic. Thank you very much, Gregorio. 1 minute is always yours. So please don't hesitate to take that. And while giving a breakout here, I started the first questions started to drop. Again, I would highly recommend our audience to drop their questions to the link at the bottom of the screen. I'm always reading and keeping an eye on those questions and sharing consistently with the panelists that we have. So if you would like to ask some questions, that would be fantastic, so that we add them to the agenda of the event. Marius, Gregorio had another subject for us, customer experience as a growth strategy. So that's something that we can start from. So talking about this implementation of CX strategies, as you mentioned in the introductions too, you basically sit on your desk and deal with millions of customer feedback every single day, maybe for last 10 years or even more. So how 14. So how the voice of customer feeds into the strategic decisions to build long-term relationship with the customers?
You know what, this is actually one of my favorite topics when we are talking about customer experience and strategy, because it's important to make sure that you have the right elements in the mix. If you are looking how the majority of the companies are using NPS or satisfaction surveys to capture their customer experience, and how this is a way to react in the improvement plans, you think that is kind of a way where they look into their internal data only. But there is another source that is not always getting enough attention, which is the external independent voice of the consumer platforms. I mean, yeah, NPS is structured, is reactive as a methodology, but the reviews on external platforms tend to be more emotional and give the consumer the freedom to share immediate feedback. So consumers will always ask for, or they will share opinions about their experiences with brands, no matter if I'm talking about, I don't know, a random conversation with a friend or a share in social media. And it's important for companies to listen and to react to this external conversation. This is critical in order to grow. I mean, just think about yourself, a simple exercise. When you last bought something on Amazon, once you landed on the product page, probably the first thing you've done was to check what are the reviews on that product, what are the user experience with the product. And this is because consumers feel the need of an independent, if you want, review outside of the official brand communication. But you know what, this is good for companies, and having access to all this organic feedback is gold, because the voice of the consumer helps organizations to find those gaps in the customer experience and helps to identify what people are actually expecting from our products and our brands. Consumers in general are setting personal experience benchmark based on their overall interaction with all the brands they are dealing with. So that's why I feel that it's important to capture real feedback from these external platforms and combining with your internal measurements. Because I mean, to give you an example, if you use Uber app or Booking.com, it is so intuitive and clear to navigate. Then the consumer is expecting the same intuitive and effortless experience, no matter the product or service we are talking about. So in my opinion, it is mandatory to build the CX strategy based on internal information, but also on external sources of this voice of the consumer. In this way, the result will probably match more accurate the real needs of the consumer. Also, the independent voice of the customer sources are a way to change perceptions, if you want. Monitoring and being active on external platforms will help the business to create their credibility, to build and engage with their consumers, but also is a strategic opportunity to actually embed your expected outcome to the reality shared by the consumer. So it's a good mix between the internal data and external data, and how this feeds into your long-term and your customer experience strategy.
If I may add something, because Gregory, I 100% agree with you, and it's not only client opinions, but also it is true that clients move their expectations and good practices from one brand and from one sector to another. That is why if they have, for example, this easy tracking of courier packages, why they not can track process of your loan application? So it is very true that customer move their expectation from one sector and from one brand to another. That is why it is really necessary to deliver great customer experience, to watch, monitor all these good practices in also not connected and other sectors.
Definitely. And you know what, Kamil, I think that stealing with pride when it's about best practices is something that I think everyone agrees with, and learning from others the best practices and try to replicate that how much possible is nothing else than improving the experience and make the consumer happier and satisfied with your brand. So definitely in line with my thoughts.
And only to add what Kamil is saying, I fully agree. And this is, I think, also the point of view. I'm working for a credit card company. For me, the most important piece in one customer experience is the payment. But at the end, nobody wants really to pay. They want to get a service or a product. And therefore, you need really to start thinking. I use the name ecosystem, probably it's not the best word. But if you speak about an experience, if, for example, Marius is planning the next travel to, I don't know, somewhere where he was not, and perhaps next time you come to Zurich, then we can have a discussion. And there it's really, is booking a flight, is booking an hotel, he needs to pay. And all these these steps are part of the experience, and Marius is happy if the complete experience is working well. And therefore, you have quite a lot of companies that should interact or work together in order to create a good experience or a consistent experience for Marius. And therefore, it's always important to use the customer point of view, because it's not about the credit card or the flight, because Marius can have the best flight yet ever, but if the hotel is crap, then perhaps he was not really happy and his experience was not good. And therefore, really key to have this broader view, what does the customer really want to achieve?
I think that the goal with every product in general is the job to be done and how your product actually solve that problem. In my honesty, I will not mention the name, but I have a favorite credit card, and the reason I'm such a huge ambassador and fan of that is because when I had a problem, even that was not necessarily in their hands to solve it, they took the ownership of that problem. So at the end of the year, when that yearly fee comes to be paid, even that is higher than other providers, I will think again back to that experience, and I will say, you know what, I can deal with this payment. It's fine, because I know that you are there for me. So it's very important to build to the customer expectation, and proactivity is very important in building the trust with the brand.
Sure, I think this is key. And if you're speaking about credit cards, I think this is exactly what you said. It's the moment of truth that really count in order to provide you the experience that you want. Back to what we are discussing. If you use the cards, the only thing that you want that it works when you want to pay. And therefore, if you have an issue or if you have a request, then we should, as a credit card company, try to find the best way to solve your issue as quick as possible, because most of the time, if you have an issue with the credit card, it means you are in trouble. And Özkan will stop us because we are now going to all the topics.
I was completely enjoying it, and I was thinking like, these were just warm-up questions. So, we're going to be going through the second and third round. So the conversation will really, heat up. So again, this was like a very interesting question, because like we covered a lot. So like in one question, I believe we covered 6 years history of 5 years history of myself, literally, founding Pisano, like we exactly for the same purposes. When we saw the power of those customer feedback in external platforms, me and my partners, we said that we need to bring that voice of the customers to businesses. If I would be the owner of that business, I would like to have those feedback to myself and work on them to change something, instead of using that as a threat and or like losing business or, having some bad image on the market. So that is how we founded actually Pisano, and then we went through all this process, going through and really sharing the experience. That's why we actually launched Pisano Academy, and where we are here today. An experience from banking can be like a very eye opener for a credit card company or like a consumer goods company. That's why, again, I'm very happy that in one question we covered a lot. And again, I'm looking forward to the future. And Kamil, let's talk about the future, trying to shape the future, because that is basically what you get as a responsibility at the current position that you hold. Because future and the digital transformation, there are two keywords always being used in the sentences together. And how often are you contacted by business units about customer-facing transformation projects? Can you share some of your recent projects with us?
Sure. So I've got this 2 points of view, because our role is to connect companies that apply to our startup partnership program. So where the company applies and looking for business partner, it is also our part to find the business owners. However, also we work the other side. So business owners will come to us and ask us for find some innovative solution that help them with client-facing problems. And to be honest, there are many different areas, because it is it can be like some branch innovation will help serve our customers in face-to-face processes, as well as many back office processes which will help to speed up, for example, our processes due to, for example, RPA that will shorten some bottlenecks and some long processes due to robotization. Maybe one of our current project, which is on my agenda, is to deliver 360 customer view, which will help us to be closer and more connected to our customer. Because, as you know, as we told before, it is really important to react quickly and to know what is the voice of customers, and it is really good to also have this possibility that not only dedicated department who is responsible to collect feedback, but also to other businesses to have this possibility to have quick access to client responses and voice of customer, which of course will help many businesses to do more good decisions and be closer to their customers.
That's fantastic, Kamil. Being closer to their customers, I believe that's where we will take it from, Marius. You know, when talking about the future and being close to the customers, most probably you're coming from one of the oldest industries in the world, which basically didn't have much disruption until the last 5 to 10 years. It's very close to customers, but not as a business, as a product. And however, we do experience a new trend of direct to consumer these days. So a lot of the companies from your industry or like, you know, from FMCG, they are trying to have those direct interaction with their customers. And I trust that is also a serious project with Aykut within PMI. How do you see that changing the future of customer service at PMI?
Well, firstly, I want to mention that I was lucky enough for almost 10 years to work for a brand that has their own website and their own chain of shops. So this helped me to understand and always be able to react to the consumer to the lenses of a known channel. So this is something that is very important, I think, in order to tackle this direct-to-consumer trend. I mean, if we're looking now, we're living some difficult times, and the pandemic is accelerating changes in the consumer behavior. Changes that were probably predicted to happen in a few years' time are already happening, and direct-to-the-consumer models are getting now more and more important. And we can see this with big brands that we haven't expected this to happen, like, I don't know, PepsiCo, Nescafe, and of course PMI. And honestly, based on external research data, we understand that 78% of shoppers trusting more manufacturers' website when researching product. So it's a no-brainer to not take this into consideration and to keep the consumer end-to-end on your own and control channels. Looking at the general consumer pain points, what we can see is that the majority of these problems are linked to the knowledge on and the product understanding by the user. And I do believe that the direct-to-consumer models can solve part of this, as you can react in real time with know-how, support, and solution to the problem. And a great example actually is financial services industry and insurance in particular. And it was a given until a few years ago for insurers to sell their products mainly through brokers. And this turned the sale process into a very much transactional and volume-based approach, if we want, with no consumer in the driving seat. I've been fortunate enough to be part of some big transformation programs at RSA, later on at Aviva, to reshape the approach of selling and support processes by adding a better balance between the owned and partner channels. And this contributed to build a more loyal consumer base and having less churn. So D2C models are an amazing opportunity for for customer experience in general. I mean, who better knows your consumer and brand if not yourself? And to be honest, selling your products to your own website and stores gives you the full control of the experience and to solve a major pain point in the satisfaction when it comes about the quality. And again, luckily, the coronavirus, because there is also a good part, let's say, in this mess, is that mostly the consumers are choosing to limit themselves to online shopping now. And this is another opportunity for us to equip and onboard consumers in the correct way to a good consumer relationship. And honestly, in order to maintain the market share, all the manufacturers, we will need to find new creative ways to convey the value of our products and to make the purchases about more than just price. And the only way to achieve this is by speaking directly to your consumers. And I think this is major and a great opportunity.
Exactly, and maybe one other example is, for example, Nike, which a few years ago changed their strategy and decided to be closer to their customers, open their own stores, and to build the whole community around running and sports and so on. And the outcome is they have now a more, big connected customer database, as well as the community, which now they can have a bigger impact on their decision and can engage them more to be closer to the brand. So yeah, I agree that this is a good strategy for manufacturing companies also to be closer to their customers and to have bigger impact on final customer experience.
True, and we all want to be part of communities, and this is an opportunity again for companies to create this community for their users and their consumers, to bring them together and to have them being part of something. This creates loyalty and build on the credibility and trust in the brand.
And perhaps to add something, and Özkan again, sorry, so to jumping in, I think if you think of what you're saying, there is quite a very well-known book about the experience economy, and that we are all in this experience economy. But if you think what is happening now, we are in the me economy, because new generation, the Z generation, millennials and so on, grow up with Uber and all these solution, also what you mentioned, Marius, like Airbnb and so on. You have all the information now, anywhere, everywhere, and these are personalized to you. If I open Amazon, it's not the same Amazon that you would see, or that Kamil would see, or that Özkan would see. And therefore, they're having this data, being able to leverage this data and creating new experience, being always able to understand what the customer needs us, and then to create new opportunities to create value, where you have win-win situation for the customer and for you, that make the company last longer and longer, and not always focused on the next quarter. I need to bring my numbers because the shareholders are not happy. And I think this is extremely key. And from my personal experience, I have really a good colleague. He's also in the manufacturing. It's really a small company, but what he told me at the beginning is, I started my business, I am more than happy, I have enough for my family and perhaps also for the future generation. But if I want to stay on the market, each 6 months I need to come with a new product, with a new idea, because I have quite a lot of competitors. Everybody can compare what I'm doing with the others. Quite a lot of people are trying to leverage on the price, and the price are always decreasing, and therefore you need always something new that the customer wants. And that's the easiest way, is to involve them from the beginning.
I think that the good part is that price is not anymore a differentiator. I mean, even if you have the cheapest product in the market, if you don't offer the right support, the right personalization of your product to be adapted to your customer segment, the price will just be something, that customer will enjoy for a day, a week, and then they will just leave you for the next product.
With price, you can only lose, because this goes only one direction, and you don't create what you said earlier, loyalty, because then you decrease the price, and the next time the customer is expecting an additional decrease, and you are only going down. That's not.
Well, don't get me wrong. Let's decrease the prices because all the consumer wants this, but you need to add on top of that the other part to go up: the loyalty, the support, the customization, everything. So.
No, I fully agree.
That's now from a personal perspective, not like from a business mindset.
Sure, fully agree. That's exactly what we are saying, the same in different way.
Yes, true.
And maybe coming back to what Marius said, that Amazon quite good utilize data, and for example, launching a new product in their e-commerce service, that they are just analyzing searches on their website, and if some products are not available, they just adding something later on based on the analytics. So they always monitor what customers are looking for, and this is based on that they make decision what to add to their store, for example.
That's fantastic, Kamil. Again, we're just warming up. So every question kicks up another conversation. That's great. So Gregorio, like we discuss a lot of things about customers, being closer to the customer, giving the providing the ecosystem around the product and services that you're providing. We shared a few examples that does that very successfully. And honestly, I don't do much shopping apart from grocery. So I do shopping once in 3 years or something. But due to pandemic, when we started to stay home, starting by March, and I've become a part of one of the communities that we mentioned here due to my gym routine, because I can't go to gym anymore. So then I've seen the power of that community and how they drive that community to really establish that brand. And that was basically what was requested from those customers. I trust that those customers were demanding that ecosystem around, so that they build it, and that has become a very successful business model. So at the same time, we discussed a lot about again, listening to the customer and understanding the experience. So how do you see the customer experience trend? We all talk about customer experience. I'm not sure how much time, how many time we use the word of customer experience. Next time in the next panel, I'm going to put a counter. When someone says customer experience, there will be a counter on there. So
check the recording.
Yeah. How do you see that trend driving the future of customer service? Because this is not businesses are used to. Businesses are used to serve on a queue basis. Like you have a complaint, you come, you have your script in front of yourself, you read that script, you do it, and then you put it to the back end, or back office, then process is done, you come and you just read the script again to the customer. But this is completely out of the product and services that you provide. Like if we're talking about an ecosystem, there is a guy asking about eating habit or a gym routine, and which is demanded by those customers. This is not just one example about it, but how do you see that experience trend or experience change driving the future of customer service too?
I think there are a lot of ways to answer your question. Perhaps based on the fact that we have a discussion, please interrupt me if you want to add something. But basically, I think we start from the company. What's the company vision? What's the company view on customer experience? And we can start, for example, with the example, what is in the company vision? And I make one example. If we think about Ritz-Carlton, they have a great vision that it's 9 words long. It's "We are ladies and gentlemen serving ladies and gentlemen." And only with this sentence, we could fill the 90 minutes of this webinar. I'm not going to deep dive, but there you put already the customer at the same level as the employees. And you use the same name. It means ladies and gentlemen serving ladies and gentlemen. And I think this is key to start really from the top. What is the customer vision? What is the company vision and the company purpose? And if you start from there and you don't have the customer in your vision, in your purpose, then please look at it and try to change it. Because based on what we discussed with you, with Marius and Kamil, we see that customer centricity and having customer at the center will be key in future, will be one of the key success factors. And perhaps you can say, yes, but for Ritz-Carlton, it's quite easy because we are speaking about hotels and they can create special experience and stuff like that. But if we take one other example, perhaps not so known as Ritz-Carlton. I'm speaking about Bob Chapman. Bob Chapman is very well known, is in the manufacturing industry. At the end, he creates stuff with paper, but create a company from really small one to a 2 billion value company. And his way of measuring success is, sorry, I need to read to be sure that I read the right one. We measure success by the way we touch the lives of people. And also, if we think about that, it's really the key, it's the customer. And now to shorten the discussion and not discussing the next 20 minutes with myself, let's go one step further. And you are speaking about customer service. There are quite a lot of options how you can see customer experience and trends in customer service. What I really like, and it's what Kamil and Marius already mentioned, let's speak about Amazon. They are using one matrix in order to find a way how to perform processes, how to service the customer. This matrix, the name is Value Irritant Matrix. It's an extremely easy one, I think very well known from experts like you, and it's quite easy. You have on the horizontal the customer, and on the vertical you have the company. And then you start looking at if an interaction is irritating for the customer and irritating for the company, why should they have a discussion? And these are all these topics around, I need a new PIN, I forgot the login. You need to make these experiences seamless because it needs to work. If it creates value for the customer and it's, let's say, irritating for the company, then you should try to automate. I want to have the new login. I want to have a new login, or I need a new card, or something like that. There you can automate. And I think the human interaction is less important because there the customer wants to have the solution as quick as possible and perhaps also in the self-servicing. But if you're thinking about the interaction where for the customer is a value added and for the company is a value added, then it's key to have engaged employees that are able to have the interaction with the customer and start discussing. If you're speaking about customer service, if we want to create value, then let's forget how long the calls take and how expensive the call is. And I make again an example. It's I want to cancel my bank account, or I want to cancel my credit card, or I want to cancel the product I'm getting from you. There, it's important that the employee invests time in order to convince you to give the feedback and information you need to stay with the company. Because at the end, acquiring one customer is much more expensive than, for example, a call that it takes 7 minutes or 8 minutes or 9 minutes. And therefore, there you can start creating value. And how can you create value? It's with the human interaction. We all know we are in a COVID situation, and nowadays it's even more important to empathize with the customer and to have a good relationship with them and to try solving their issues. This was a long answer on your questions. I hope that I touch at least some relevant topics that are also for the audience for interest, and perhaps again, I'm sure I will get some feedback from Marius and Kamil.
If I may add one thing, because it is really important for all client-facing companies who want to deliver great customer experience. In many cases, if not all of them, it is really important to start from employee experience. So if you have happy and satisfied employees, it is much easier and more natural to deliver customer experience. So usually, in some cases, the whole customer experience transformation starts at the level earlier, and you start with your employees. And if you want to deliver, as I said, a great customer experience, it is really necessary to also focus on employee experience.
I fully agree, and I can subscribe what you are saying. And at the end, we are discussing about customer experience. It's about loyalty, and if your employees are not loyal to you, then which experience can they deliver to the customer? And therefore, I fully agree with you. Engaged employee, happy employees, or engaged employees then drive also customer loyalties. And these are really the ladies, let's use the Ritz-Carlton words, the ladies and gentlemen serving other ladies and gentlemen. If they are not committed and engaged, then sorry, it will not work.
I think it's nothing to debate on what you both are saying there. The only thing I will add to this is that where I see the opportunity, and not many businesses are doing this, is such a shame for this, is that customer experience needs to be the company, customer experience strategy needs to be the company strategy. And many times the customer experience strategy is just the customer experience team strategy rather than the overall strategy. And if you are looking at big brands, like you said, probably Amazon, but I can tell you from my experience, for example, Vodafone, the strategy of the company is with the customer in mind for every direction they are having. So I think that this is a secret weapon that companies can have to make sure that they deliver in the direction that that customers are expecting. Because at the end of the day, loyal customers brings more customers, and when you are happy with the product, you'll buy it again and again and again. So I think that the strategy piece needs to be extended from a CX team perspective to a wider audience, and all the teams, all the functions in the business should have at least one customer experience pillar in their strategies. I think
and maybe at one last thing, it is also good to have this leadership and sponsorship on the C-level, which will lead through all these changes in the organization. Yeah.
Thank you very much again, Kamil. We're having a lot of questions, so I couldn't count them. Maybe more than 20 questions coming from audience already. And since Kamil touched one of them already in his comment, I would like to ask this question coming from the audience. So, do you believe in the value of combining employee experience with customer experience? Is it possible to bring frontline staff closer to the boardroom to influence customer-centric strategies? Have you seen or worked in companies being successful in doing so? What are some of the key things to consider? So, who would like to take that question?
I can start, and then Marius, you can add. I think you asked quite a lot of questions. Therefore, I start with the first piece, aligning customer experience and employee experience. I think, as Kamil said, I think this is one of the, and it's not a secret, but it's one of the key success factor, because you need to involve all your customer or your employees in what you're doing. We spoke quite a lot about transformation. You can have the best technology, you can implement the best project, the best initiative, or the best CRM, what Kamil said. But if your employees are not going to use that, or they don't like that, or they use still the old system because they say, no, I was not involved, then it doesn't make sense. Therefore, it's key to involve employees from the beginning. And if we make one step earlier, if we think about employee journeys, these are also keys. It means then it starts from the hiring process. I hire somebody for the values that he has, from the attitude that is bringing in the company, and then I go through the next steps. I think there is one great example, and sorry to always using this example, from the Zappos CEO. And at the beginning, as Zappos was a smaller company than now, he was trying to hire people and try to find the intersection between what's the passion of the people, what they are good at, and what the company needs. And you find the intersection between these three topics, items, then you are sure that you can have an engaged employee, that it can create a value added. And then if you go through all the different steps, and we have again a great example from Disney, it's about training. It's not that the first 3 weeks you train your employees for 3 weeks and all the day, and then you say, okay, now go on the field and do what you need to do. There it's important to continuously train and support the employees in order to deliver the expected customer experience or what the customer are expecting, and then they get engaged in the different projects. And therefore also there, if we think about agile delivery methodologies, also there you create an agile team where you have also the employees that work with the CRM system or for the project that can bring their value. And if you involve them and you explain why you are doing that, then you have engaged people that can really deliver something. Before I continue, I hand over to Marius or Kamil.
I think that you touch a good point, but for me, there are two angles in this story. And yes, it's one, how you can bring the employee experience to feed into the customer experience strategy and improvement plans. But then there is an element, and obviously you are doing this by involving the employees in different experiences in different projects, at different elements on the ideation stages and so on. And I like the second part of this question and how you can bring the staff closer to the boardroom to influence customer-centric strategies. Well, I have a bit of a different opinion here. It's not about how you bring the employees in these conversations in the board at the board level, but for me, it's how you bring the board into the employees' experience and how you can bring from CEO to whatever level you want, to bring them in the field and to bring them to shadowing the employees to see what are their struggles, what are the customer struggles that they cannot solve through the tools that they have. So I feel that we need to look from two angles here in order to solve and to crack this problem. But definitely, it's a mandatory fact. And let's be honest, you cannot deliver customer experience just through the customer experience team. Everyone in the business is impacting the employee experience and not necessarily working directly for the consumer, but HR, if they're messing up with the policy or with a salary to a frontline employee, that person will be sad that day. That will not be a person that will deliver at their best. They will impact the experience of the consumer and so on. So I think it's mandatory. So it's a critical element actually to make sure that are both working together. The problem is that not too many companies are measuring the employee experience all the time or that often, but still I think is in a good direction what is happening now.
Measuring is one thing, what to do with it is the second thing, but it's not a discussion for today. But maybe I will share experience from my organization, because we recently started big digital transformation of our organization, and we moved from silos to be more digital. And now we are creating cross-organizational teams where we bring people from sales, people from IT, people from back office, from legal, from marketing, and even customers to create new or to improve our current product and services and current customer experience. So it is good to create cross-organizational team to have voice of all these different voices from the organization, which have their own view on a particular subject, bring them together, and then they create something really great.
And if I can continue with the questions,
sure, of course.
About examples, I think the best example that come to my mind is Sir Richard Branson. His view is employee first at Virgin, and he's doing quite a lot around this topic and is investing quite a lot. But if I go back to my Disney example, I think we should also, if we speak about employee experience and so on, as a leader, we need also to engage and to enable and to empower our employees. And we need to make also two things. First of all, it's to make easy for them to work, not creating long script, long policies, and so on, but make their life easy, because if we are the right people, then we trust them. What asked at the beginning, we trust our employees, and therefore we give them the freedom to solve issues. Again, with the Disney example, if you start working at the Disney park, you have 3 main rules. The number 1 is do your job. Second one is take care of the guests. In Disney words, is guests are the customer. And third one is keep the property clean. And these are 3 extremely simple rules that you can use, you can leverage. It's quite easy to understand. It's quite easy to learn. And then you can do that. Oh, sorry, 1 second. Keep the property clean. Oh, something, it's on my floor.
Nice.
Sorry, I am a small child. Now it's a joke, but I think that's quite easy and clear. Also, if I'm cleaning up, then I like more to be in this room and to work in this room. And therefore, I think this is extremely clear. And the last example, it's without making names and so on. GE company, 10 years old. The most of the audience would know that, but it's a good refresher. A CEO started, and he was looking at the dressing policy, how people should dress in the office. Not so relevant now that we are in home office, but still a good example. It was about 30 or 40 pages, the rule how to dress. And she said, let's make it really simple and understandable. She said, let's throw away this regulation and let's change it to dress accordingly, because I trust my employees, I trust my people, they know and they understand what does it mean.
And then the problems appeared.
Yeah, it is
Just a joke.
Hopefully not. So we ended up very nicely. Hopefully not.
It is a little bit more complicated in more regulated industries like financial services, because all customer expects that they want companies to speak in plain language, be direct to customers. Sorry, but it is more complicated because there is a whole compliance department, legal departments, and all this regulatory obligation that financial institutions have to meet. So this is sometimes hard to balance between talk to customers directly in simple language and meet all these regulatory requirements. So we have sometimes discussion that we want to change some communication with our clients, but it is sometimes challenging to do so due to the regulation.
I fully agree with you, and also there are small comment. I am working in a financial services in Switzerland. Therefore, it's for us, it's key, and it's the basis of everything to comply with rules and regulation, all of them. But let's make again another example. If we speak about soccer, for the audience, the one played with the feet. If we think about a soccer game and we think about the referee and link that to business, then it's the referee is the regulator, is defining the rules that you need to stick to. And there you have several options. You can try to make the referee happy, but you don't win the match, or you can try to stick to the rules and ensure that you don't get a yellow card, you don't get the red cards, but you focus on what you want. And there it's to score the goal.
Absolutely. So, Gregorio, there was a specific question for yourself. When you were talking about customer experience trend and driving the future of customer service, there was another question coming from audience where we merged that topic with the employee experience. So, how do you see the job of the CX leaders, like all of us, like yourselves, in building those trustworthy relationships within organizations? So how do you think that their role is evolved, affecting the employee experience too? How do you think that they're gonna, let's say, collaborate with their peers and colleagues in human resources, that they will change the way that businesses will work in the future?
This is quite difficult questions, and I link back to what Marius said about customer experience strategy, and then it's the strategy of one team and not of the company. At the end, what I really think is we are really progressing in this, let's say, in this science, and customer experience, it's not a department, it's a mindset. And it's important to create this mindset and to support people going through these steps. And depending of what it's available, because at the end you need resources, you need budget, and you need time. Depending on what it's available, you can start small, creating small groups with also small initiative to create an impact. And if we speak about employee experience, one of the easiest thing to do is to say thank you. Thank you for what you did. Thank you, Özkan, for inviting me. Thank you, Marius, for having this discussion. And this is already something that helps a culture to create values, to create genuine values, and to continue through this initiative. We really did is we created in our company a wall, and we awarded the thank you to somebody that did something nice. It's clear then you can build on it and create other initiatives. But important is to start small. I make one example is you can also start creating a community of practice, and you try to find in all the different departments that are working in your company experts or people that are interested in customer experience, and you start from there. And then you start creating this mindset. You create small initiatives, and as soon as you start getting successful with these small things, because it will really works, then you see people that will join, and all the additional people that will join, and then you can really create something. And therefore, I think also there it's, let's start with a small group. You create one or two small initiatives, perhaps that it doesn't cost too much, and then you start from there. And at the end, in the long term, and it's what Marius and Kamil and you already said, if we think, and we are all aware that customer experience will be an important topic in future, at some point in time, it will be like, let's say, the processes that you have in the company, it's part of the company, and you need to live with that. And then each department will work together, try to find solutions for the customer. And to make the last example, it's if I'm calling one company and the agent is telling me, I need to transfer you to the next department, my first answer is, I don't care if it's the next department, because I am calling you as a company, I want a solution from you, and I don't want to repeat everything. And therefore, we should also go away from this mindset. We have different departments that they have their targets, but we have common targets. These are for sure, revenues and everything, but also the focus on the customer. And I think this is really key, and where you could start small and then creating a bit of noise around that. And if you are successful, then everybody will join.
Interesting. We don't have comments from Kamil and Marius yet, or you're keeping
we just agree that lead by example and start from yourself, and it is always a good point to start.
That's fantastic. So I'm going to ask a question to Marius, because I believe this is one of the questions coming from the audience, and that is related to what we discussed previously too. So they're asking, this is coming from one of our colleagues coming from FMCG background. For FMCG or an industry like where PMI currently operates, distribution has a key role in the success of the business. So how do you see the role of distribution network in the future affecting the customer experience and service? Because we discussed as the last keywords from Gregorio, focus on the customer.
Yeah, I think that this flows quite well after the answer we had from Gregorio. And I would like first to mention actually a few elements that needs to be clear to set the scene. So everyone that it's clear for everyone that consumer goods being present in physical location is mandatory for visibility, for consumer to purchase that product. So visibility is a key. there is also a clear major trend for consumer and businesses nowadays, the focus to switch from the offline channels to the online channels. And this is even more accentuated now with the pandemic. Now, for businesses, a higher online presence comes with the opportunity to reach out to a new consumer base, to which otherwise they wouldn't have had access to. So also, I think that the complexity and the variation of the product portfolio translated into consumer needs for more support and a better onboarding stage is kind of something that needs to shape the distribution network and the way this is impacting the experience and the support. So the good part, for example, in the UK with all these trends is that the market in the UK market, the internet penetration is at the moment at 95%. So this makes this switch easier from offline to online. If you are looking, for example, in Italy, where it's only 75. But all these changes and this shift comes with some challenges. And as this direction we are going to, the supply chains, firstly, will require a new level of agility to better support on the online distribution channels rather than a physical one, where the speed, obviously, of reaction and the capabilities are completely different. And we have now online retailers that are offering same-day delivery for products. And I have a few examples in mind where actually the same-day delivery turned into a 45 minutes delivery and so on. So a good warehouse network is needed to support a larger geographical presence as results of this major change from offline to online. And this brings the companies to challenge to maintain the offline retail network, but also to have a better extended warehouse network. Now, from a consumer perspective, I think that is a big change on how the consumer journey needs to be approached and designed, and as the needs of and the pain points of the consumer will start to be different, and we can see already new changes that are rising. I mean, for example, you have back to your point, Gregorio, calls around changing a delivery address or changing the interval in real time. Your order is on the way, you want to change that. And also for consumer service, a new set of capabilities and tools will be needed, because you need to react in real time with processes that are changed, and they are reacting again at the moment of the call. And I see that slowly the impact in customer service will also make differences in the back office teams and the second level of support, when everything will turn more into a facing support. So I do see in the future that the back office teams and the support in the background will not be needed anymore, because everything needs to be in real time in the front of the consumer. I think that this is the big change that will happen with the customer service.
That's gonna fire up an interesting conversation. Kamil, it's coming for you. I know that you're keeping.
I hope for that.
No. I just was listening with curiosity. So I think nothing to add from my perspective. For sure, it is easier to build credibility for new brands entering new markets when you have a physical presence. But if you have global presence, it is no longer, I think, necessary. You can just start digital and it will be enough. But good logistic for sure is a key in this digital e-commerce world.
No, I think the problem. Sorry, just to add to Kamil's answer, I think that the challenge for businesses is that even everything is digitalized and everything is happening in real time. If you have no issues with your order or with your interaction, everything will work perfectly. But if you start having a problem, that things will just collapse. And to give you an example, and I will not mention the brand or what they are selling, but I have a favorite company that are delivering their products in 45 minutes. Now the problem is that at some point I ordered something wrong and I called them to change one of the products. The problem was that the order was already on its way, and literally I called in 5 minutes after I realized, after I placed the order. So it was good for me to get that in 45 minutes, but the complicated process had to happen after that. Return one product, wait for the refund. We know how banks are working. 7 days waiting for the refund to happen was not a big amount of money, but is something that we need to understand, that needs to be shaped differently in terms of customer support and how these things can be solved in real time.
Two small comments on what you are saying, but it's only to confirming what you are saying. The first one, it's about, you are speaking about digital or physical experiences. For me, in the future, we are speaking about phygital experience. One piece is physical and one piece is digital, because also with Amazon you can do everything online, but at the end the delivery is the courier coming to your house, and therefore you need to manage the handover from digital to physical in the right way. And back to what you are saying, I think it's, if we think back on what I said on the value irritant matrix, these are exactly the processes that need to be automated, and therefore perhaps you don't need the back office for a task that you can automate because it's irritant for the company, but it brings value to the customer. But at the end, we still need employees, and we should switch all these tasks where create value for both the company and the customer to the employees, and then we are back about employee experience, having engaged people, because they can create a value added, and therefore I can fully agree what you're saying.
That's good. I was gonna just go through that phygital experiences. So I remember, I believe it was around either January or February this year. So I needed to go to a bank branch, and I was waiting on the line. We needed to do a corporate thing just to increase limits or something for our corporate banking. And I've seen an interesting scene where an old couple were sitting just in front of the RM, and they were having Turkish coffee, and they were talking about something, and like suddenly they just stand up and they hugged each other, they kissed each other, and I said, like, what's happening here? Because we know the bank and we work with them too. And I asked, like, what's happening here? And they said that this couple is moving to another city, and like they were just saying bye to their account manager. So that is, I said, like, wow, that's a serious relationship. Like that is where really what customer relationship means. Talking about a lot of this future in digital. So I'll take this question to Kamil, coming from the audience. So how are you planning these new channels to serve your customers? So because trust is at the core of the relationship that you build with your customers. A customer, since moving to another city, getting out of his home or her home, coming to the branch, having a coffee with the RM, hugging them, kissing them, most probably they know each other for years. How would you transfer that to a new channel that is completely or nearly new?
It's very interesting. Before I joined PKO, I wasn't aware how it works, and it is really true that our advisors have very close connection to their customers, and the specification of our bank is that we have very many branches all around the country, and this relationship is very important thing, and we have many branch lovers who love to come to our branches, especially elder one, and it is really big challenge for us to move this relationship to digital. So there are a few steps to achieve that, and to deliver, this connected experience, no matter in what channel client is. But I think banks, as a general, don't have a recipe for this right now. Banks are generally try to support all the digital and physical touch points to be close to their customers. And now main focus is to make as many processes which were available in branches also to be available in digital. But now, if we are speaking the whole relationship with clients, now it is important how to make available these advisors and personal personal advisors available to their clients. So the first step is to make them available via video chat, that it is also possible to have this personal conversation when you are at home, but not the whole of our customers are digital. So I think for a long time still this physical presence will be necessary. So there are some maybe solutions like for younger generation, for example, chatbot channel is comfortable, and they are using messengers and WhatsApp all the time. So for them, it might be convenient to also use these channels when they are connecting bank to resolve some issues. But as I said before, the more complicated process, this personal connection and personal support will be needed, and it is very hard to move this relationship fully digital. So for sure, the future is to how to make it available for customers and mix this physical and digital presence for all the customers. I don't know what is the best solution yet, but for sure it is a direction where all the banks will move.
Oh. Yeah, we're gonna see them all together. And just sharing a fact, again, from most of our banking customers, we do know that during the pandemic, 80% of the branch visitors were still that old people that they weren't allowed to go out. So whenever they found an opportunity, they went to their branches, because that is where they meet, where they actually build those, friendly relationship with their RM. So that was an interesting metric from our side. So we're going to be closing slowly. If you're going to add something.
Yeah, just quickly, I think that no matter the industry, in order to build trust with your consumer, you need to have some clear principles in mind. And for me, personalization is a mandatory element. To have consistency, again, is something that you need to have no matter the channel, as Kamil mentioned. Reachable to the companies to be always, there when the customer wants. So there are this kind of elements that will create this long-term relationship, no matter the industry. But then, of course, you need to translate this and to adapt to the specific of your industry. But you need to build around the top principles of the CX.
Sure, and I think if I can add, on one side, I'm happy that we cannot substitute humans through machines, but humans still matters.
Yeah.
And I think this is relevant, and based on what Kamil said, I rephrased that a bit in a different way, but exactly the same. It's about for which persona, customer segment or type of customer are we solving which issue, and perhaps younger generation like more to use WhatsApp because they are not so connected with the branch of the bank, but they are connected with their community or something different, and therefore it's still important to cope with these questions, how we can ensure that these human interactions is working and it's creates the relationship that we want. And this is exactly like these webinars. We are having a great discussion. It's really super discussion. But I think if we would have that being together at the same table, then it would be even a bit better.
Of course.
Sure.
And again, I'll be closing the event slowly, because we do have visitors and viewers all around the world, and due to the time zones, people are either their lunchtime and either their dinner time, and also we're hitting the time. But there is one really insistent viewer from the audience, and I received a message again, and she's saying I'm not gonna go away before I get the answer. Marius, there's a personal question, since you said personalization. I'm not sure if you would like to take it, but there's a personal question for yourself. People are one of the persons from the audience asking about the room that you're in. So the question is, in which room of your house you're at the moment, And how many countries do we see in the screen at the moment? Like, I trust talking about the books and frames and, lamps. So like, if you bought them from different countries, so I'm gonna ask them because I would either.
Yeah, I'm happy to answer. It's all right, no worries. I'm happy to answer. So let me see. Actually, to be honest, I'm not sure. So first of all, I'm in my living room, and then if I'm looking on the wall, I have. So they are both from the UK, but I can tell you what is in the picture. So this is Venice, Italy. That's Winchester, and that one. Actually, no, I'm lying. That one is from Romania. I don't know if you can see it on the top. Is a countryside. Picture from Romania. And then if I'm looking in my library, all these shelves here are countries. So our travel guides, probably like, I don't know, 20. I don't know, Switzerland, because Gregorio is from there, Japan, France. I don't have Turkey, Özkan, I'm sorry about that. And no Poland. But yeah, and then this shelf is from Germany. So it's kind of a mix of things. I hope that answered.
Also Venice.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Marius, being so kind to answer that question too. It was really my honor to be on this call with yourself, and I really enjoyed the conversation. As Gregorio said, if it would have been in personal or like in a physical environment that we do see each other, we could even create a better experience. Maybe we were leaving the room hugging each other and continue the conversation for hours. It seems like next year.
And you would pay the dinner.
Yeah, we do have someone from the bank, so I believe we know who is gonna pay. So that's the where the big pockets and budgets are. But I'm happy to pay, of course. It seems like we're getting some good news, and this winter will be a bit hard. But for next year, we're hopeful. And then next year, hopefully, we're going to have a better processes and, better engagements for in-person interactions. So again, thank you very much. And this was a fantastic event that I can't even count. Like, we received tens of thank you messages. There were a lot of positive feedback. We're always sending a feedback form at the end of each event. I would be happy to share those results with you too. But again, that is my pleasure to host you today at the event. Thank you very much for joining, and thank you very much for all of your contributions.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for having us.
Thank you very much.
Bye.